Welcome to day 3. Can you all hear me now? It's day 3 and I'm excited to share with you our topic for today, which we're discussing assembling the right documents for your case. This is a continuation from day 2, but I'm going to get into today's topic after we talk about these documents, because yesterday we had a lot to talk about in terms of documents that were required. So thank you all that were here, that joined and participated in that session. I'm attorney Ify. I've been your host the past 2 days for this 5-day training. We're now on day 3. We're going to talk about how to prepare your package for sending off. But before we do that, I want to share how to make your documentation stand out. If you're currently applying for your green card through family, you need to know these tips to help you prepare a strong package. Because what we talked about yesterday was all about having the right documents. After you examine your record, you figure out the right documents that you need and you assemble it properly. So how to make your documentation stand out is very important to the success of your application. So I hope that you all are taking notes today. I'm not sure if you have access to the workbook yet, but if you don't, let me know in the comments and I will make sure you have that. In the workbook, we are going over everything that we're discussing from day 1 till now, but it allows you to give you some prompts for you to make notes. And so something you can also keep after this training to implement in your application as you go forward. All right. And towards the end of this training, I'm also going to offer you some of our services, because what we do at my law firm is help immigrants who are going through the same process as you with their filing and making sure they avoid any unnecessary delays and expenses. So today's live, very important. Tune in. If you're just joining for the first time today, let me know in the comments as well. Welcome to the best green card training there is out there. I don't think anyone is actually doing this right now, because for the most part, if you're applying for your green card, it's either you just go to a service and you don't really get trained on what to do. If you plan to actually do any of this on your own in terms of finding out the documents and knowing where to go, how to get started. No one is doing this training, so this is exclusive for you, and I'm glad that you're here. So the first thing you want to think about when we're putting together documentation is creating a cover letter. That's the first thing that I do when I'm preparing a case for my clients. And I've been sharing lots of client testimonies with you, and you've seen that I've had huge success with client approvals, especially when it's a marriage-based green card and we're able to determine their history before we file. So there's been huge success, 87 days, 100 days, green cards, not even just work permit or anything. So it is possible. It's not the norm for you to get it in 90 days, but it is possible if you have the right strategy. Okay? Yeah. So right now, as you're going through this and you're wondering what documents you need, having a cover letter will help you see clearly what you have and what you don't have. And our yesterday's homework for the VIP session was talking about which documents you have, which ones you need, which ones are required, which ones are just okay. So look back at your homework. If you didn't do that homework, let me know in the comments. I'll let you have the workbook so you can participate and follow along in this training. Okay, so cover letter, very important for your success in your application. And also label your tabs. Labels, very important. If you're gonna have 100 different papers, right? You know, you're doing the I-45, you have the I-864, you have tax returns, you have proof of relationship. There's just so many aspects of the relationship that labels are going to save you a ton of delays, because if the officer can't understand what they're looking at, they'll probably just put your case aside, and that will cause another level of delays that you don't want. So use label tabs, organize the sessions or sections. Number 3 is to include a table of content. This is necessary also for organization, making sure the officer can see what it is you're presenting in the order. During yesterday's live, we talked about the best ways to actually present. Oh, actually, that was in the VIP session. I've just been talking a lot. We're having 2 sessions each day. So it must have been the VIP session where we talked about the order, right, in which your document should be organized. You're going to start with identity documents, and then going to be your forms, right? Actually, I think it's forms, identity documents, and then supporting documents, all that. It's like 4 different things. There's a specific order that I recommend. If you do it in any other different way, it doesn't mean your case will get denied. But for green card success, for increasing your chances of success, it's best to have that organized checklist and cover letter, okay? And for your questions, we'll get to questions at the end or in the VIP session, whichever one. Yesterday, we had so many questions and we went over our 45-minute schedule, but today we'll see how it goes for the rest of the training. If you have more questions that we can get to here, there's always the sessions afterwards, or you can just book a call with me or my team. The links are going to be in the comments, okay? So table of content, and then number 4, highlighting key information to support your eligibility. If there's anything specific you think they need to know, like if your spouse is in the military, for example, and you're trying to get that lower income requirement, that would be a good thing to highlight on your cover letter, okay? And also consistency, that's key in a successful package. If you want the agent to be focused on giving you your approval, you need to be consistent with your naming or tagging or whatever it is you're doing so they can identify stuff. That's the whole point, for them to identify it quickly and give you a decision. That's what you're looking for. All right, so don't be too fancy about it. Just essentially make sure you have what you need. What is popping up? Allow? Don't allow. Something is popping up on my computer, distracting me. So let's see, what's that stuff that was showing up right now? Okay. All right, this is a sample cover letter. Let me make that bigger for you all. You can take a screenshot or you can just come to the VIP session. We'll have the workbook there for sure for you all to have access to this. So this is a sample cover letter that you can use to start out your case. Oh, the list is right here. The forms, filing fees, the primary documentation, that's your key evidence, your marriage license, if it's a marriage-based green card, birth certificate, if it's for your parents, and then we have the supporting evidence. So when it comes to things like pictures and lease and utilities, all those things, those are supporting evidence. Those aren't the main evidence that you need, because not every couple even has that, and yet they can still get approved. You just need to know your specific situation, make sure you're on the right track of having the right documents and presenting it in the way that will increase success. Because even if you have the right documents and if it's all messy, I've had some couples over the years that were married for 10 plus years, really lots of bona fides, but they were still getting denied because 1, they weren't filing the right forms, and then 2, they weren't presenting their case properly. Like I mentioned yesterday, USCIS only knows you by your paperwork. They don't really know who you are. So just your paperwork is what they're looking at. And if it's not organized well, you just get denied. Okay. So this is your green card success training to help you get that quick approval, avoid any delays, unnecessary denials, anything that's just going to hold you back from actually moving forward with your life. So if you're excited about doing that, give me a heart in the comments. Let me know how you're feeling right now. What's your mood? Are you scared about not having enough documents? Do you have enough documents? Are you already in the process of submitting? Like, where are you right now after hearing all of this? So think about that for 1 minute here. I'm going to see if we have our other, oh, this is not working. I'll usually have other members here who are asking questions specifically, but I don't think they're connected today or my device isn't working. But yeah, do a self-assessment about your own case. Where are you? What kind of help are you needing right now? Or maybe not. Maybe you're good. Based on everything you've heard, you've realized that you're in a good place. You have all the documents. So let us know. All right. Yeah. These are all the questions, the prompts for you to go ahead and assess yourself and know basically what you need to do for the next stage. Because once you have that clarity, just like in the E step of examining your past records, you're able to then make better decisions, better choices, about your case moving forward. So, is everything organized? Have you addressed any potential weakness? That's what we'll talk about in today's lesson, which is sign and verify. So here is a client story, and I'll tell you a little bit about that client and their situation, how they finally got their green card. So this was a family of about 17, okay? This was a consular process. A family of 17, they basically didn't understand. They're trying to do it on their own, right? So they understand how to organize the documents for each and every one, because everyone had different ages, so the form fees are different. Everyone had different relationships. Some were immediate relatives, some were dependents. I mean, it was a mess. So they came to me. This was a couple years ago, and we worked through their case. This is an email I had with them talking about just the consular process and what it takes to actually submit that. So we submitted that application, and a few months later, they were documentarily qualified. English is my second language. They were DQ'd. That's what we call it. Just DQ'd. They had all the documents. And why? Simply because we applied the easy method. We're able to organize their documents in a way that made sense for the agents. And that was able to speed up their process. So that's why this stuff is important. Every family is different. The documents you need is going to be different. And if you're not organizing it well, did I talk about the 3-folder system yet? Maybe I didn't introduce that yet, but the 3-folder system is just a method that I use to organize the stuff. Just join our VIP session and you learn more about that. During these 30, 45 minutes training here, it's hard to get into all the details because we just have a lot to share. And I know many of you are getting value from this. So let me know if you want that link to join the VIP session. It'll be in the comments. Okay. And if you're watching the replay, you can just save the date for our next training because we're going to be hosting this training continuously. So if you missed this one and you're watching the replay right now, just save the date for the next one. Follow us on the Facebook group or join the Facebook group and you'll know exactly when the next training is happening. It's best when you're here live because you can just ask questions and I'll answer it right here, or you have the chance to actually join the VIP session versus days later. But I understand a lot of you are busy. Some of you have your work permit now, you're working, which I'm happy for you. So that's why I made the replays available after the live, so you can have a chance to watch it, get some value, get your case moving forward, and be set up for maximum success. Right? So let's see what else we have here for the remaining stuff from yesterday. Here, we're talking about the takeaways. Okay. You already got that. You already know how important this is. And to organize it in a way that will increase the chances of you getting approved because they can see all your evidence clearly and you've addressed any potential weakness. So that's key. to getting your final decision. I think that's about it for that. The next thing I'll show you right now is your commitment statement. This is something I've been doing since day one to ensure that you are taking this seriously, because when you commit to yourself, you know, hopefully you're going to actually follow through what you promise yourself, right? And that's why we do this commit statement. So now write down in the comments, I say your name, I'm Attorney Ivy, commit to properly assembling my documentation using the professional 3-folder system that I've learned today to secure my immigration status, build a stable life in the US. Okay. I'll leave it on for a bit because I know it's a long statement, but you do need to tell yourself that you're ready to actually implement some of the tips that you're learning. Otherwise, you're just saving stuff. You know how many stuff I've saved on Instagram when I see one new thing that I think I want to buy or just do. I'll just save it. And then the next day on Instagram again, I just save it. And you just keep saving stuff, going to all these trainings. You're not really changing. Your life is not really changing. Your process is not really improving. So don't make this about just listening and going through the motions. Make this about action. You need to take some action today. And in the workbook, I share those specific things that you can use even long after this training, to continue to stay ahead of what's going on in your case. That's the only way you can guarantee your success and your status in this country, because green card is not the only thing. This is just the first step to your citizenship. Until you get there, you need to keep on protecting your status, making sure you're in alignment and everything is working out fine. So tomorrow, we're going to talk about how to sign and submit your application without costly mistakes. Well, tomorrow is today, day 3. So we're going to talk about signing and verifying your forms. If you've been paying attention to the news, you know that there's been lots of changes to the forms just in the past few months here. And AILA, which I'm a member of, even had to essentially sue the government to make sure that you all can still have your rights and be able to submit your forms without unnecessary pushback, because they were starting to reject forms and all of that just because they felt like, I think they were changing there was no, for the male female category, they're just something like that. They changed just some simple change that they were trying to basically reject everyone for. And we're like, hell no, you're sued. And we won. So now the forms, you can still use that original version for a specific amount of time. And we can now switch to the new version. But that's what we're going to be talking about today on day 3. We'll take a little 2-minute break so I can get some water or something, and you all can also take a break because it's been about 20 minutes now. So we'll have a few more minutes just to run through what we're doing today on day 3. So I'm going to switch to that stuff, and I will see you shortly. Feel free to ask your questions while we're waiting, having this little intermission. All right. Okay. Any questions so far? All right, no questions. I think I have my stuff for today. So we're going to get into this one then. Day 3. Again, I'm Attorney Ivy, creator of this easy method after all my years of practice as an immigration attorney helping immigrants nationwide with their application. So the filing phase we're going to discuss today is part of the easy system, the easy method. E is for examining your past records. S is for A, and I don't know how to spell. A is for assembling the right documents, and S, which is today, is for signing and verifying that you have everything before you actually submit. Okay, because if you file incorrectly, it'll get rejected, and you'll be at that point just delaying your case. You can still refile, but what we're teaching you here today is to avoid unnecessary delays. Okay, so in the filing phase, it's important that you know how to sign and submit your application. All right, so welcome back. We already went through what we did for day 2 just now. And I think that was actually one of the most important things in all of this, because without having the right documents, even if you assemble it, even if you put it together correctly and whatnot, it's still not the right document. You can still get denied. So knowing the right documents and putting it together correctly is key to your success. All right, so let's see what else we haven't talked about here, because I know we just had a recap. Let's put this on. All right. So in recent years, USCIS has become extremely strict with applications in general. Like now we're seeing green card interviews for simple cases that in the past the interview would have been waived, right? And then they will just call you out on something that you could easily get a waiver for, but they want you to actually file a waiver. A U.S. citizen spouse can get waivers for unlawful presence, overstay, unauthorized work, things like that. But now in 2025, they might actually make you file waivers. So now you need to know what forms am I submitting for this waiver if it becomes necessary. Okay, that's what we're doing here. We're also teaching you about the proper way to sign. It needs to be original, handwritten, and match your ID exactly. Whatever signatures that you use on other documents, you should use that for sure in your green card application. Okay? Because, like I said, a simple mistake will cost you everything. It'll cause unnecessary delays that will just be a setback. And we don't have that kind of time. One thing in life is time. You can't get that back. Okay? It's just something that we have to protect. Now, imagine knowing exactly how to submit your application so it processes quickly and you're confident about all your forms, not thinking and wondering if they're going to reject your forms or if something was wrong. So just imagine having that peace of mind when you submit. And after you use the easy method, you're going to have a lot of clarity. Okay. And then you can even anticipate getting some relief within 90 days because you have decreased significantly your chances of any type of rejection or delay. So once you submit, you start the clock. 90 days, you most likely get your receipt notice and your biometrics. Those are the first 2 things that you get in the first 90 days. And after that, you will get your work permit. All right, like I said, I've had clients that I showed you all. I'm not sure if today I have some more clients' testimonies, but I've shown you all clients' real stories, actual clients in this country that came from different countries. I've had clients from Mexico, Nigeria, Ghana, all of them getting their results in 90 days or less, really. Another lady from Taiwan, too, I think her story might be here. She did get her green card so early, even though she even had lots of issues with her entry. That was that was a good one for us as well, because I was concerned initially that she came in on a work visa. She left and came back in on a visitors visa, all the while dating her husband. And I was like, dang, is this going to be a problem? But clearly it wasn't. She's about to do her removal of conditions, though, and she has already come to us for help with that. So I believe that when the time comes, we'll go through the same easy method. We use that for every case that we file to avoid any filing mistakes or rejection. So that's why I'm teaching you this today, because you don't want your package to just be getting rejected before they even get a chance to look at it. So I'm teaching you this to help you essentially avoid unnecessary rejection, right? If you're using outdated forms, or you're not signing all the pages, or you just don't have the right fees, those types of things will lead to immediate rejection. The fees, when it comes to the fees in April 2024, the fees changed. So if you're just looking online, make sure that those websites you're looking at have the updated fees. You might as well just go to USCIS website, or better still, work with a professional who can actually guide you in the right direction. Make sure you're not making mistakes that can be avoided and increasing your timeline. Okay. So let's see. The filing submission process that I use is pretty straightforward. There is another checklist for that, but it really is simply about reviewing the forms, obviously making sure that everything is complete and accurate, because any inconsistency could be seen as a misrepresentation. Okay, make sure that you identify all the children that you have. Right, don't skip out on things that you don't know. The parts that are going to be empty, just leave that as NA, so there's no room for misinterpretation of what you actually said. Okay, so review your forms, right? And after that, we're going to the next thing. After reviewing your forms, making sure everything is consistent, you're going to verify your signatures. Now, this sounds simple, right? Because you're going to sign something that you're going to send out to the government, right? Verifying your signature. Sounds simple, but shockingly, people get rejections for not having the correct signature. Either they're using blue ink, or they're not signing the right pages, or the signature is just faint. Different reasons, like for signatures. So it's very important I included it in my steps, because that's how important it is. If it's not signed, then it's not filed. And if it's rejected, it's not filed. So think about that one before you submit. All right. These are my tips. You can take a screenshot or also comment if you're looking to get the workbook that has all of this information to help you stay up to date, and something you can actually have after this session. Okay. So make sure everything is matching, the dates, everything is completed. Okay, and then the next step is to organize your supporting documents. All right, this will be another very important stage. We just talked about that in Form Day 2's content. So for those of you that missed Day 2, and if you're watching today, you got a little bit about what we talked about on Day 2, but how you put together that document really does matter, okay? It really does. And I want to make sure that you all are setting yourself up for success in this journey, because it is expensive to file any immigration process at this point. It's going to be at least 1,000 to 3,000 for forms. After they made the changes to the forms, the prices really went up. So you want to make sure that you are doing it correctly the first time, avoiding any denials. Sometimes they can even just deny you. That's another thing that people don't realize. USCIS has that discretion to deny you without further discussion. Okay, they don't have to send an RFE. They don't have to do any of that. They'll just basically give you, deny you. So, final submission tips. Right? If you've gone through all these steps, you've reviewed the forms, you made sure everything was signed, you have all the supporting documents together, right? You're going to be on the lookout for the address. These are some of the final things you want to make sure you have in there, because there are different locations to send your package to, depending on where you live, right? So correct filing address for your case type. Make sure you have that. If you send it to the wrong place, we're in the same thing. So you might have everything else good, right? You have all the documents good. You've signed, you verified, you use the easy method, you're great. Then you send it to the wrong place. I mean, right? Send it to the wrong place, we're done. It's not going to get delivered. You're just going to wait for months and you have to do it all over again. Spending that time, that money to print out, do everything again. So avoid those unnecessary delays by getting it right the first time. Okay. Everything, all of this information is on the USCIS website, but I've made it more accessible to you in this group as being part of my community to get access to what kind of fees you need. We have our checklist and everything that just puts it all together for you while you're here. All right. Make sure you get your tracking number. Don't just send stuff out to the government without getting a tracking number. We always send our clients tracking. That's part of our service to provide tracking numbers for the clients, make sure the stuff is actually delivered and get the receipt notice. So until we get your receipt notice, we're going to be working on your case. And then after that, if you sign up for our more comprehensive package, you would most likely be getting additional support. Even after your stuff is received and you had your biometrics, your work permit, we still offer like interview prep, for example. That's something that has become very necessary in 2025. So if you're signing up for something like that, you get extended service. But if you're in the initial foundations package, which allows us to help you with these steps, which is the reviewing and packaging and all of that stuff, you should be good to go with just tracking and monitoring your own, making sure you have that tracking number. That will, help you ensure. It also gives you proof in case USCIS is like, oh, we never received your stuff. You have proof. Okay. So there's my beautiful family. It's my daughter and my sister. I love that picture so much. I'm just proud of where we are right now as immigrants as well from Nigeria, going through this process. Now, well, my daughter was born here in the US, but really, if I hadn't gotten myself together and figured out my immigration status, that would be affecting her too. Because even though she's a US citizen, she's not 21. So it's not something where your child can file for you. You need to be able to work. You need to be able to provide for your children. So if you're watching this right now and you're an immigrant going through this process, wondering how to take the next step, I think right now is the time for you to take that step. Just because you're watching this right now, this is the time, because there's no other time that you have than now. No other day is guaranteed other than right now. So take that step. Make sure that you are not falling for some of the traps that USCIS has set for you all to just basically make mistakes, spend more money, because they benefit off of you spending more money. I'm not going to talk so much about the SIGN method because we're focusing on the easy method today, but really the SIGN system, just acronyms. I think acronyms helps us to remember stuff because for me personally, my memory is not the greatest. So if I have an acronym, an easy way to remember something very important, I will use it. So I created all these acronyms to help you all make it easy. And I think it does work based on all the stuff that all the results that we've been getting over the years. Okay. And yeah, you don't have to be an immigration lawyer. You just need an immigration lawyer to do this. You don't have to have all the knowledge to succeed in this process, but if you have the right support, you can succeed. That's really another aspect of my life, just personally, that I am beginning to tap into, because realize that I just can't be the expert at everything. Okay. For immigration law, family-based immigration, yes. But for other aspects of my life, I also need professionals. So make sure you're using support systems around you before you get overwhelmed and then ruin your life. Value the quality of your day-to-day life, how you're spending time with your family, the things you're doing, versus spending hours at night just trying to read all these forms. These forms are so long, even for me that I'm an attorney. So I can imagine someone who doesn't even really know what they're looking at. All the numbers for the case type, the rules, the laws, the case rules, all that stuff in there. You just don't know what you're looking at, just reading it like A, B, C, D, that's fine, but that won't get you the results that you need. You don't need to be a lawyer. You don't need to be the professional. You just need to get one. Okay. You can still be successful even if you speak a different language. We have interpreters with even clients who have special needs. We also have any type of service to help those clients still get the results that they need. Okay. So I'll share one story with you all today, and I'll look through to see what all we have prepared, because at this point we are getting to the 45-minute mark, right? And I will be wrapping up the live. But let's see what we got here. I know Seraphim, that's somebody who basically was able to get his results. Well, this is not Seraphim, but Seraphim did leave a review on Google for me about using some of these tips that I'm sharing with you right now from social media and getting his results. So that was Seraphim's success story. But the next slide over was really another client who has an amazing success story as well. She got her 10-year green card in 87 days. That's the lady I told you all about. She got her 10-year green card after removal of conditions based on a waiver, an abusive relationship. So that's her right there. And she's able to just move on with her life right now. She's living happily here. This is Seraphim, just talks about him from social media. Use my tips. I don't gatekeep over here. I'm not gatekeeping so that you all just go to my service. I want you to know what you need to know, but I'm telling you that you can't do it on your own because it is complex. It is just that simple. It's not the information. You need to actually have knowledge to work with a professional. Because if you don't have knowledge and with a professional, that can still be frustrating. So I invest a lot of time in teaching my clients and teaching anyone that comes across my content, really, so that you're empowered, because knowledge is power. So this is what we're doing here today, teaching you to be empowered, but also letting you know that with that great knowledge, you still need someone to help you wield that power. Okay, so that's really the purpose of this training today and us putting together this program, right, to help you wield the power that you already have as an immigrant. I already told you all, I'm an immigrant myself from Nigeria. Started where you all are at right now. And I know that it can be difficult because I almost lost my status just because of lack of knowledge. Almost lost my status. I wasn't empowered. But the moment I got connected to an attorney, that changed the game for me. And now I'm an immigration lawyer. In fact, I believe it was that contact with that lawyer that changed, that made me realize that I need to actually practice immigration. Because when I graduated, I reached out to that lawyer, but he had retired at the time. It's been 20 years now. He had retired, and he was just happy to see my growth and everything. But yeah, that's the same thing I like to see from my clients whenever they call me about what's going on in their life, having children, building houses, traveling. It's exciting because that's the point of it all. Okay, so you need that professional support to wield that power, all this knowledge you're getting. Attempting to do it on your own could really cause more delays, more harm, because you never know what needs to be in, what needs to be out. Okay, this is me back in the day and me now, just living this life that you see right now. If you're following me on social media, you just see today. You don't see where I came from when I didn't have that guidance, and how my life has turned around the moment I did. So the proof is in the pudding, y'all. It is evidence. It is possible for you too, if you can just take the step. I'm going to make it easy for you to take that step when I share with you all what I have for this group. All of you attending this program, you have a chance to actually sign up with us for a special pricing just for you. Since you attended the group, you took the time to actually get the training, so now you're empowered, and we don't have to go through all this process of doing that again and for new clients. So for you, you're already in. You're in here, you're watching this, you're in. So you're going to get our special pricing for our service towards the end. I'll tell you more about that here, and I will put a link for you to just tap in and lock it in and get that support. Right, we're ready to go ASAP. As soon as you're tapped in, we're turned on, and that's it. Filing is more than just mailing forms. You do need that professional help to make sure everything is correct, and that if something does come up along the line, you are still supported. Okay? Keep in mind all the checklists and stuff we talked about. Best ways to avoid rejection. This is just a recap for you, and basically it's easier to just file a good case the first time than to try to fix a broken case. So make sure you're on track with that and you're focused on your goals, because for me, the ultimate goal is to get you stable in the US, get you your receipt notices and work permits and things that can actually give you some legal stay, and you reduce the chances of being deported for not having your status. So within the first 90 days, your goal is to work on getting these things by following these steps and avoiding rejections, making sure you are on track to stay in the US continuously. Because if you get picked up by ICE and you don't have any of these three things, you'll most likely be at the point of deportation, right? They will just take you to ICE detention, and that's your removal proceedings at that point. So, but once you have a work permit or a case pending, you're more protected. So that is the goal, to protect you in these first 90 days. Make sure you get the paperwork that you need to stay safe, stay with your families, and continue to build your future here in the US. Okay, so here's another commitment statement, y'all. This is for day 3. Let's say your name, commit to stop making costly mistakes with my immigration filing, and I'll create my submission checklist to easily navigate the USCIS process that will secure my status in the US. Got that? Yes, so that's the final thing for today. Tomorrow we have more coming. That's going to be the final step in the easy method. We'll talk about how to get the best results after your interview, because in 2025, everyone's getting called for interviews. So we're going to prepare you for your interview. And once you have examined your records and assembled your documents and you've signed and verified your forms, you're on the path to your green card success. So tap in, join the VIP session, put in the comments #VIP so I can send you the link. It's going to be on Zoom, so it's not going to be in the group. It's going to be on Zoom because I want it to be more intimate and private. So whoever is serious about taking it to the next level, just look in the comments for the link or comment #VIP and I'll DM it to you. Okay. So I think we're at the end now. Let's see, day 3 homework. Okay. This is going to be discussed this evening. So take a screenshot, or better still, get the workbook from me. What is your biggest filing concern, and what signature mistakes have you made in the past? Okay. If you've ever been rejected before, or you're just having any concerns about your filing that's either pending or maybe you get an RFE, we can discuss all of that during the VIP session. Okay? I think we have 1 more minute. We're right on the mark today, guys. Thank you very much for being here, watching, and sharing this with your friends, participating. I appreciate. All right. And we're done. That's it. So, any other questions you have, I'll be looking in the comments even after the live, because this will also be played in the Facebook group. The replay is going to be here, so I'll be looking over to see if there's going to be any questions and I can answer there, or otherwise I'll see you tonight. Okay. Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy the beautiful day outside. It is nice today, not too hot, not too cold. So I'm going to go enjoy it with my family. And maybe I think I have some consults or something going on as well. But I'll do that, and then I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.